For the first time in 10 years, the head of the British Armed Forces visited China. Admiral Sir Tony Radakin discussed issues of common concern with China's military leaders in Beijing, its defense ministry said in a short statement. Notably, the Admiral's visit comes during a time of an immense trade war between China and the US after President Trump's announcement of higher tariffs. Weeks after Palestinian activist and Columbia student Mahmoud Khalil was arrested in New York, Judge Jamie Cummins in Louisiana ruled on Friday that he can be deported. The move supports the Trump administration's push to remove pro-Palestinian foreign students without criminal charges. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, citing a 1952 law, claimed Khalil's activism harms US foreign policy. Khalil has until April 23rd to seek relief as another court examines free speech concerns. After the stock market shock caused by sweeping import taxes, President Donald Trump defended the implementation of his tariffs. On Friday, he reaffirmed that his tariff policy is doing really well despite China retaliating with tariffs up to 125% on US goods, which unsettled global markets. Stocks fluctuate, bond yields rose, and the dollar weakened amid growing recession fears. Despite the escalating tensions, Trump expressed optimism, highlighting the 15 nations has offered deals during the 90-day tariff pause. The United States and Iran will be engaged in high-stakes talks in Tehran in the line with renewing the nuclear program, which did not go through after Trump pulled out of the deal in 2018 during his first term. Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi are set to lead the discussions behind in Muscat, the capital of Oman. The decision for talks was announced at the Oval Office, with the US President saying that he prefers a diplomatic solution but also warned of grave danger if the talks are unsuccessful. In a significant shift in the ongoing trade conflict, the EU has suspended its retaliatory 25% tariffs on 21 billion euros worth of US goods for 90 days. This decision follows US President Donald Trump's reversal on increasing tariffs as he announced a 90-day pause on his highest duties. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen welcomed this move, highlighting the EU's willingness to engage in trade negotiations. The proposed countermeasures targeting US agricultural and industrial products will now be deferred, though they could be reinstated if talks fail. In a major move to curb what he calls wasteful spending, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered the termination of information technology service contracts worth $5.1 billion. The cancelled contracts involve major consulting firms including Accenture, Booz Allen Hamilton, and Deloitte. The cuts impact a broad range of defense operations, from the Navy and Air Force to DARPA and the Defense Health Agency. In recent months, peace efforts surrounding the ongoing Ukraine conflict have encountered significant obstacles. In response, the US envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg on Friday for talks aimed at achieving a peaceful resolution. The discussions lasted over 4 hours but remained fragile, with Russia demanding Ukraine's non-NATO membership and control over occupied territories. After years of keeping his health largely private, Donald Trump, sworn in this January as the oldest president in US history, underwent his annual medical checkup on Friday at Walter Reed Medical Center. The 78-year-old president stated, "I have never felt better." He spent over 5 hours at the facility before departing for Florida. While full details are yet to be released, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt promised a comprehensive report, confirming that Trump is in very good health and did not require anesthesia. A day after a fatal helicopter crash in New York, tragedy hit South Florida now. On Friday morning, aircraft Cessna 310 went down moments after takeoff near Interstate 95, just southwest of Boca Raton Airport, killing all 3 people on board and injuring a driver on the ground. Authorities reported a mechanical issue shortly after the aircraft departed for Tallahassee. The fiery crash ignited nearby palm trees and forced a vehicle onto adjacent train tracks. Roads were closed, rail operations suspended, and federal investigators launched a probe as witnesses described scenes of chaos and devastation. Following the attack on the Indian consulate in Melbourne by anti-India elements, India strongly raised the issue of vandalism with Australian authorities, urging swift and decisive action to ensure the safety and security of its diplomatic personnel and premises. The Indian High Commission in Canberra condemned the defacing as the work of miscreants and called for accountability. The incident, discovered around 1 a.m. on Thursday, reflects previous attacks on the consulate during times of international tensions. US Vice President J.D. Vance is set to visit India from April 21 to 24, accompanied by his wife Usha Vance. His trip will include meetings with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and senior officials, as well as visits to Jaipur and Agra. Usha Vance, marking her first visit to India as Second Lady, hails from an Indian-American family. This visit coincides with ongoing US-India trade negotiations, with both nations advancing a crucial trade deal. Declared misogynist, Andrew Tate told a woman that he was debating whether he would rape her or not before strangling and forcing himself upon her. One of the 4 women suing him said in a lawsuit, reports The Guardian. He is also accused of whispering "good girl" as he raped another woman whom he had also threatened with a gun at another instance. In recent months, the United States has aggressively expanded its sanctions regime, targeting entities allegedly involved in the trade of Iranian oil. As part of this campaign, the US has imposed sanctions on Jagvinder Singh Brar, an Indian national based in the UAE, and 4 of his companies, accusing them of transporting Iranian crude. Brar firms, including Global Tankers and Prime Tankers, are claimed to be linked to Iran's so-called shadow fleet. In a recent escalation, Pakistan violated the ceasefire along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir's Akhnur sector. A junior commissioned officer of the Indian Army, Subedar Kuldeep Chand, was martyred during an encounter with terrorists attempting to infiltrate. Despite recent de-escalation talks between India and Pakistan, tensions continue to rise. Meanwhile, security forces eliminated 3 Pakistani terrorists in Kishtwar, recovering significant weapons. The Indian Army has strongly condemned these cross-border terror attempts. In a recent media interaction, US President Donald Trump addressed increasing speculation regarding his relationship with Tesla CEO Elon Musk, commending his accomplishments. "Elon has done an outstanding job," Trump remarked, stressing that while he admires Musk, he is not dependent on him. Trump also expressed his support for purchasing a Tesla vehicle, despite Musk's imminent return to focusing on his businesses.